Hello everybody, my name is Brian Nunez. I am the Losi brand manager, and in this video we're going to show you how to install the CVAs in your Mini B or Mini T mini truck. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do, just for kind of good measure, is get rid of the body. Just flex that over the rear cover, pop it around the shocks, and pull it out. Now, the first thing we're going to do here is actually get rid of the both rear tires. You can use a 5.5 millimeter hex wrench. Put those aside. Put that aside. Flip over to the other side and do the same. Sweet. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and pop off these rear links. You do that just by grabbing your nose pliers, about a 45-degree turn, and out it goes. No need to do it on the other side. And grab your pliers. Boop. And there it goes. Now these are going to flex out, and you can remove your old dog bones. Flex that out. Your old dog bones. You won't need any of these anymore. Probably want to keep these parts in your toolbox just in case you have an issue, a failure, you bend one for whatever crazy reason, you have something to replace something at the track, get you back to having fun. So we'll set those aside. Now we got to remove these rear hubs. Using a 1.5 millimeter wrench. These are two shoulder screws that act as hinge pins for the rear. You can see that there. They're all the same size, so no need to kind of be worried about that. Flip it around just to make it a little bit easier on this side. And now the hub comes off. Drop that in. Work our way over to the other side. Hinge pin comes out. Shoulder screw. Turn it around. Now, that can move over to its side. If you want to be super pro, bam. So now we have to assemble the new hubs and the driveline. But there is a few parts you're going to need from the old hubs. First thing you want to do is pop this hex out. If you can't do it by hand or with your nail, you can always use a flathead screwdriver, kind of get it wedged in there and pop it out. You also want to be careful with this because there is a pin in here that will fall out. There's the hex, there's that pin. There it is falling out. So move that out. Those are the only two pieces you need. Pull out this end. You won't need that anymore. That's only used with dog bones. Now, the other piece you're going to need is one of these bearings. Both of these bearings are the same size, and they will transfer over to the new hubs. In order to get rid of that, you can grab your wrench, get it in there at an angle, and kind of just catch the lip of the bearing and pop it out like so. Another key part of this is if you flip this over, you're going to see this little aluminum spacer. That is a key piece of this entire assembly. What this does, it allows you to truly tighten down your wheel nuts without crushing those bearings and locking up those rear tires. You can leave that bearing in because, as you can tell in the new hubs we're installed, you're using much bigger bearings. The last part is going to be this ball stud. All right, so I'm going to keep all these parts together just to make it easier on myself. Get rid of your hub, no longer need that. And again, we'll remove the hex using your nail or a flathead screwdriver to get behind there. Being mindful of that pin, tap it and it'll fall right out. Oh, there you go. Won't need that anymore. You just need one of these bearings. Again, use your tool, shouldn't take much pressure to kind of pop it out. Hit at the top, the bottom, and there you go. So the last thing we need is that little aluminum spacer that's in there. Make sure that comes out as well. So there you go. Now we have all the parts we need to assemble our new hubs. First step is grab your new hub, and you're going to want to insert this new bearing. And the reason for this new bearing is because, again, this drive is much larger diameter than the existing one. So the best way to do this is just insert the bearing into the part first, like so. This is going to help you guide this in much easier and flat and level, like so. And then you can just pop this piece right out again. So I'll grab these two spacers. You actually will not be needing these. And then you can go ahead and grab your front bearing, install that, like so. Then we'll go ahead and do the ball stud now. This is your 1.5 millimeter hex wrench. And another cool feature with this, again, you have two options here in order to add an additional tuning. The stock location is, again, towards the inside of the car. So we'll go ahead and keep that the same. So now it comes for the fun part, is actually building your CVAs. In order to do that, you need your CVA, kind of your outdrive there, your pin, and your barrel. And what you're going to want to do is slide your barrel into the CVA, and there's actually a hole in the barrel that needs to line up with the groove. Might be a little hard to see on camera there. What you want to do is kind of make sure that that's pointing straight up, and then there's a hole on this drive. You line all those holes up, and then you slide your pin in. So what I like to do is kind of hold this entire assembly, grab my pin, and then kind of work it in. Now it's not that hard, as you can see. That went in pretty smoothly. The key thing is keeping that level to keep it from falling out, and that pin is captured by the bearing itself. So now this slides in, gets captured by that bearing. Now you reinstall your hex pin, like so. Keep that nice and flat, and reinstall your hex, like so. And there you go. Now you've assembled your brand new rear hub with CVAs. CVAs offer a huge performance advantage over dog bones. Dog bones are free floating, and as your suspension travel, they're moving in and out, creating a weird plunge within the cups. This is going to be much more consistent, also much stronger, and if for whatever reason you happen to pop off a camber link on the track, your dog bone is not going to go flying out, go around the track looking for that dog bone. This whole assembly will stay intact. The last thing you need to do, and this is kind of a personal preference for yourself, is some people like to grease these a bit. One thing with grease is that it does help with kind of the life, but if you're running in dirt conditions, that grease will attract dirt and actually make things worse. What we actually recommend is running a dry Teflon lube, often used on bicycles on the chain, and that gives you enough protection against wear, but also won't attract dirt. But if you're running on carpet, most surfaces, there's really no need to grease those all too much. So we'll set that aside and we'll build the other side. All right, so now we got our brand new hubs and CVAs all built. Time to get your car back on. And all you need to do is grab whichever side. These are the same either side, so there's not a left nor a right. And then you're just gonna, again, make sure you feed the CVA into the outdrive of the differential. Then hold this in place, grab your shoulder screws, and install that, like so. Go ahead and put the rear one in, just to kind of keep it all in place, like so. 1.5 millimeter, and drive these in. Now, when it comes to hinge pins and shocks and all these things, these are things that you definitely don't want to over tighten, cause the arm to flex or the hub to bind. So you're gonna wanna make sure, now that I install this, I'll show you, this is nice and free. No friction whatsoever. You're gonna wanna make sure that's the case, this way you don't affect your suspension travel. Then we'll go ahead and just pop our camber link back in. One side's done. Let's move on to the other. And we can feed this in. Grab our shoulder screws or our hinge pins here. One side. And there's the other. Grab your 1.5mm wrench. It's one of the benefits. Although this car is very small and could seem tedious, you really only need these 4 or 5 simple tools to work on the entire thing. Again, keeps it really fun, keeps it simple, keeps you on the track having fun. Flip this around. Make sure that dog bone's into the outdrive. Grab your camber link and pop that in. You're going to want to make sure that these camber links are nice and free like so. So in other words, you want the ball cup to be parallel to whatever the ball stud surface is. And there you go. Let's go ahead and reinstall our rear tires. Make sure that's nice and free. It's good, no binding. This car is looking good. Truly, the only other thing that it's missing is a clear body with your own livery, your own paint scheme with your own favorite colors. Clear wing, maybe scuff these up to look real race car-like. Maybe a different set of Pro-Line tires, whatever suited for your driving style and the track surface that you're racing on. If you're interested in any of the other option parts we offer for the Mini T or the Mini B, be sure to jump on Losi.com and then our Losi YouTube channel for the instructions on how to install them. Thanks guys, we'll see you in the next one.